We've come to the end of the year, and here at Politically Connected, we're just so excited and grateful for all our subscribers. This year, we have gotten to 1,301 subscribers as we speak today, and we're just so grateful for all of you guys who took the time to watch us, because also we've been watched by 48,000 views, which is just so amazing. And because of this, we have a quick fire segment of some questions just to unpack and wrap up 2025 from Politically Connected.
Madam Speaker, what's one piece of news this year that changed how you see your own country?
Hey, there's been a lot of news pieces really that are heartbreaking, but I think the one that really changed how I viewed the country is around there was even a headline like the tyranny of East Africa, which had the three heads of state. And it was around just seeing that Kenyan citizens are getting abducted, they're getting tortured in our East African countries, and our country, or rather the government, is really doing nothing or saying anything about it. So I think that made me a little bit scared that we have a government that doesn't care for us at all.
We've had quite a number of guests featured on Politically Connected this year. Which guests left you speechless, and why did their perspective matter to our audience?
We started out it's Mukisa Kitui's episode, and maybe I'm saying that because it is just fresh in my mind, but I think because of the stature of Dr. Mukisa Kitui being the Secretary General of UNACTAD and being a minister, and how he was able to unpack some of the issues that he said. Like, for me, he brought out the validation of what the Gen Zs were protesting around in the streets.
So long as the anger of the Gen Zs is kept outside the mainstream of politics and political organization,
we will never achieve.
They will be a force for protest, but not a force for constructing alternative leadership.
He was speaking for us young people. I felt very seen, and I hope our audience also felt seen. And if you haven't watched that episode, imagine it's still on. You can click the link here and go and watch that episode. It was very empowering. It left me speechless. The way he was able to connect the dots, and also understanding that he was also a Gen Z during Moi's time, and one of the key figures who brought about change together with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
Okay. What was the most debated topic in our comment section this year?
Well, anytime we talk about the late Raila Amolo Odinga, it becomes a very heated discussion on our comment section. But this specific one was an episode clip that we posted on our TikTok, and it was from my co-host Chaka, who was narrating that Raila Odinga may have not participated in the Gen Z protests, but he also played a role in the background by organizing for the distributing of water bottles to protesters in the streets.
Most people might be surprised to learn that, very ironically, during the Gen Z protest, he used to donate money every day so that people can be given water.
Exactly.
And protesters.
Yes.
Top 3 best episodes that you've hosted this year?
From the top of my mind, the top 3 would be, okay, let me say top 3 in no order. I'd say the first one would be Tax and Trapped by Professor Vincent Ongore.
Specific banks, and this has been talked about, collaborate with government in some sinister scheme where they do open market operations, and it is those specific banks, and you know them, that buy those treasury bills and bonds in bulk, right? And they manipulate the interest rates.
That episode was basically the essence of Politically Connected, where we are unpacking the complexities, and tax is one of the complexities, and revenue collection is also one of the complexities that we face as Kenyans, where there's so much distrust between us and the government, so we're always asking, like, why should we even pay more tax? And Professor Ongore was able to really just unpack some of the myths, the misconceptions, and also some of the reasons why there's also a lot of mistrust with the Kenya Revenue Authority. I was a student in that episode. Another episode, prayers and propaganda. An episode I did with one of our guest contributors, Kidi Mwaga.
Broadbase gave the president a second chance.
Yeah.
But I think that second chance is quickly slipping away.
That was a very unfiltered and raw episode. When I say unfiltered and raw, all our episodes are really raw and unfiltered. But that one, I think that one came, if you see some of my utterances or some of what I was talking about were really how I felt in that moment. It was a time after the national prayer breakfast, and the president had sent an apology to the youth. And in that episode, we said we reject that apology. If you want to see more on that episode, please have a look and tell us more. And tell us whether you also agree with me by rejecting the president's apology. I say the third best episode was the one with our guest Mtumishi Cyprian Nyamwamu. Title was Moi, a lesser evil than Ruto.
So William Ruto knows that Article 37 provides for people to gather, to assemble, to express, to picket, to protest. And so if he arrests them and takes them to court, they will not be charged. So what has he turned to? If you arrest them, kill them.
That episode was so engaging. Cyprian is one of Kenya's greatest minds. Like, he was really challenging some of the things that we have grown up learning that are part of this status quo that keep us in this cycle. And he's actually a governor aspirant of Nairobi. So go ahead and check that episode in case you're looking for who you can vote for in 2027.
Madam Speaker, you've given us your top 3 best episodes for this year. Do you have any episode that was hard to shoot this year?
Yeah, a couple. And top of my mind is the episode we shot in tribute of the late Raila Amolo Odinga. That episode was filled with emotion. It was shot the day after we learned of his demise, and me personally, I had come from part of the people who are receiving his body at the JKIA, and the emotion on that episode was very raw. And even having Dennis Onsarigo, who was his long-term press secretary, just share some intimate moments about Raila that we never knew. We never got to see this version of Raila because the media painted him as a certain way.
I learned 2 things from Raila Odinga, patience and attitude.
I think another hard episode was the one where we were discussing police brutality, and this was just after the death. Actually, it wasn't a death, the murder of Albert Ojwang. I think for me that was really hard, just learning that someone could be abducted and killed and tortured, actually tortured then killed by the police. And there's really almost zero accountability around that. And that case is now even still open. So that was a tough episode to shoot. The emotions there were raw.
Madam Speaker, any mistakes you wish not to repeat next year?
I'm laughing because the person behind the camera is also laughing. But we've made a number of mistakes here at Politically Connected. I mean, it is part of growing and learning. This is the first time for all of us who are doing a podcast. And I think one of them is that there are some episodes, by the way, you guys in the audience have never seen, because after the interview, while we were editing, we found out the audio file was either corrupted or bad, and they never saw the light of day. And those conversations were really timely. Like the one I can think about on the top of my head is an interview we did with IALA, East African Legislative Assembly MP, Maina Karobia. And it was really in the height of the human rights violations across East Africa, when we were asking what is the importance of the Jumuiya and the East Africa Legislative when it comes to such issues. But we'll make sure in the next year we will have MP Honorable Maina Karobia back, or any other IALA MP, to come and discuss the importance of the Jumuiya.
What is one political reality we had to face this year that wasn't easy to swallow?
Uh, I think coming from the backdrop of 2024, where there was a lot of civic consciousness in the country, and we seemed to be like taking back our power and saying, we the people, we shall, mandatory, and all that. And I think the politics has once again interrupted that revolution. I think that was a hard pill to swallow, where we see there's more and more suppression. And even more so, we are yet to see a strong alternative option. Because right now it's 1 term, 2 term, but really there's no alternative option that really captures the imagination of Kenyans so far. So it's really a hard pill to chew, because to be honest, in my perspective, and I may possibly be crucified by saying this, but 2 term is looking more of a reality now, because there's really no strong alternative option at the moment.
If 2025 was the year of gaslighting, what will 2026 be the year of?
I think 2026 will be the year of political intrigue. Next year will mark literally 1 year to the next general election, which is highly anticipated. And even the political formations that we see now may not be the same political formations that will reach 2027. So why I'm saying political intrigue, it will be a year of intrigue, betrayal, deception, misinformation, malinformation, anything to just capture the attention of the voter. So it's going to be high stakes right from the get-go when we usher in the new year with political intrigue. And that's why you must remain connected. That's why you should hit the subscribe button, and let us take you through the journey of 2026, unpacking all these political moments together.
Why is it more important now than ever for someone to join the politically connected community?
Well, because here at if you look at where we're at right now in Kenya, and even in East Africa and in Africa, there's a growing need to really understand and get plugged into the politics, because everything is politically connected. From the clothes that we're wearing, from the price of the food that we buy, to the cars that we're driving in, to the places that we choose to stay in, everything is politically connected. And this podcast helps all of us collectively unpack the complexities of who is ruling us, the political power games behind that, who is making these policies, and more importantly, how does this impact the people? So that's why you should join the political community. And how can you join this community? You can join it either by hitting the subscribe button and following us on all our social media platforms, and just stay connected, because we have so much in store.
What should we look forward to next year, 2026, from Politically Connected? What's in store?
So much is in store that I don't want to talk so much before I spill the beans, but so much is in store for you. But one thing I could say is that we're looking to connect with our audiences even more through live events, whether it's live on TikTok or getting into a venue and going around the country, really raising the consciousness, the civic consciousness of the nation. And when we say civic consciousness, we need to all be aware about what is happening politically, because siasa ni maslahi. So we have so much in store. We can't wait to share with you guys.